Marian Wright Edelman is an American lawyer and civil rights activist who founded the Children's Defense Fund in 1973. Edelman attended Spelman College and Yale University Law School. After work registering African American voters in Mississippi, she moved to New York City as a staff attorney for the Legal Defense and Educational Fund of the NAACP. In 1964, Edelman returned to the South and became the first African American woman to pass the bar in Mississippi. In private practice, she took on civil rights cases and fought for funding of one of the largest Head Start programs in the country. She served as director of the Legal Defense and Educational Fund in Jackson, Mississippi. Mrs. Edelman directed the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund office in Jackson, worked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as counsel for his Poor People's Campaign, and dedicated her early career to defending the civil liberties of people struggling to overcome poverty and discrimination. From 1971 to 73, Edelman was the director of Harvard University's Center for Law and Education. She later moved to Washington, D.C. to start the Washington Research Project of the Southern Center for Public Policy, a public interest law firm. And in 1973, she founded and became president of the Children's Defense Fund, or CDF, in Washington, D.C. CDF is considered the nation's most powerful children's lobby. It secured the 1990 Act for Better Child Care, bringing more than $3 billion into daycare facilities and other programs. Many consider this law the first federal government acknowledgement that children matter. Under her leadership, the CDF became a highly effective organization in advocating children's rights. With millions of American children living in poverty, Edelman continues her advocacy, focusing on expanding Head Start, health care, and support for homeless children. From its inception, Children's Defense Fund has challenged the United States to raise its standards by improving policies and programs for children. Over the years, they have become known for careful research on children's survival, protection, and development in all racial and income groups, and for independent analyses of how federal and state policies affect children, their families, and their communities. They let the public know how effectively their elected officials stand up for children. Through this work, CDF has influenced the child policy agenda and helped define the results for which, as a nation, must strive. For decades, they have partnered with numerous organizations and worked with policymakers to build bipartisan support to enact laws that have helped millions of children fulfill their potential and escape poverty because they deserve the health care, child care, nurturing, proper nutrition, and education. Yet, in the wealthiest nation on earth, millions of children still do not get the start in life they need and the opportunities to fulfill their God-given potential. That is why CDF must continue to be a loud and persistent voice for every child. As founder, leader, and principal spokesperson for the CDF, Mrs. Edelman worked to persuade Congress to overhaul foster care, support adoption, improve child care, and protect children who are handicapped, homeless, abused, or neglected. A philosophy of service, absorbed during her childhood, spotlights all her efforts. She has said, "If you don't like the way the world is, you have an obligation to change it. Just do it one step at a time." If the world does not always seem to follow her example, it has at least accorded her many awards and honors. She has received the Albert Schweitzer Humanitarian Prize, the Heinz Award, a MacArthur Foundation Prize Fellowship, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the Robert F. Kennedy Lifetime Achievement Award for her writings. She is the author of 7 books, including Families in Peril, An Agenda for Social Change, The Measure of Our Success, A Letter to My Children and Yours, and I'm Your Child, God, Prayers for Our Children. She holds 65 honorary degrees. Mrs. Edelman continues to advocate youth pregnancy prevention, child care funding, prenatal care, greater parental responsibility in teaching values, and curtailing children's exposure to the barrage of violent images transmitted by mass media. In 1996, she founded a similar organization, Stand for Children. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. I hope the month of March has given you information either you didn't already know or it refreshed information that you already knew. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time you're watching this. Bye for now.